Most people forget their dreams within minutes upon waking, but treat that moment after waking as sacred, and I'll show you a few ways to better remember your dream.
Welcome to Chiron Art Therapy. I'm Maggie Colwell, an art therapist and Jungian. Here we explore archetypal images, personal symbolism in art and dreams, and what your psyche is trying to tell you. If you're ready to dive into your inner world, you're in the right place. Subscribe, and let's begin.
Today, our subject matter is about remembering your dreams and deepening your dream practice. When we first wake up in the morning, it takes a while for our egos to come online. You kind of wake up, you're still a little bit asleep, you're kind of bumbling around a little bit. I'm fumbling around and see if the cat's stolen my glasses. If you can hold on to that sleepy, foggy, loose orientation, then you're going to be able to hold on to more of the unconscious as you're waking up. If you don't jump out of bed with a red alert alarm clock and immediately run for the coffee. If you're able to pause and say, do I remember a dream? What's going through my head right now? What am I thinking? What's my emotion? What's my mood? Is there a song running through my head? I feel that those are dreams too. If you wake up with a thought or a song stuck in your head, that's a dream. So what I'm going to ask for you to do is try to think about what it feels like waking up. Maybe it was this morning, maybe it's just in general. What does it feel like to be sleepy? What does it feel like to be half awake? If you could turn that into colors, textures, maybe there's an image that would carry that analogy for you. What does it feel like to be carrying the unconscious with you, incubating it? That's what we're going to play around with. And when I start to do this, because I've done this so much, I've been keeping my dreams avidly for 15 years, but I was trying to keep a dream journal before I could spell anything. So I'm starting to shift into that kind of intuitive, almost like trance, just trying to think about it. And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to notice the quality of your thoughts. Maybe what do your eyes feel like? What do your muscles feel like? Is there a sensation related to that? And you're kind of playing around with, what is that mindset? What does it feel like? And this is what we're going to be playing with in our art of what is that half awake feeling? What does that kind of dream state feel like? And this is one of those things of, I don't know exactly what Maggie's saying. Maybe it would be like this morning, the first thing I saw was like the waning crescent moon. Maybe it's like that, just kind of hanging there at dawn. Or maybe it's kind of a cloud over your head. See if you can play around with some metaphors, and as you play around with it, notice if anything starts shifting as a felt sensing awareness in your body. And we're just going to play with this for, 10 minutes. I'm going to show you my art as I play around with it. And now, mind you, I've already thought this through, so I'm kind of cheating. I'll give everybody 2 more minutes to play around with this. You're welcome to keep going as we talk. So what I had asked everybody to do was kind of get curious and feel into what it feels like when you're half asleep when you first wake up. And being able to hold and cultivate that sleepy half consciousness will allow you to be able to have a in-between place that allows for more dream recall. When we jet rocket ourselves as quick as possible into consciousness and directed linear thought, our ego just obliterates that. And we're trying to keep a substrate that can grow in. And I think that's important for being able to more often remember your dreams. This is also why sometimes when you're going to sleep that night, you will remember a dream from the night before, because you're starting to go back into that same level of consciousness. One of the things to do to help yourself remember dreams is decide how you're going to record your dreams. I do a speech to text as a note on my phone. It's a way for me to not have to wake up enough to be able to remember how to write and spell. I'm dyslexic, so that requires a tremendous amount of focus for me. And waking up that much is sometimes disturbing to my sleep. So I enjoy being able to just throw a note in my phone and then fix the transcription errors the next morning. Other people don't want a phone near their bed, which I completely understand from a boundaries perspective and a sleep hygiene perspective. So keeping a notebook by your bed would be one way. I had one client who had an old style cassette tape recorder that she kept, a reporter's kind of recorder that she kept by her bed. to record her dreams as well. And she would play them back for me in session in this sleepy voice, which was kind of fun. But so you figure out what works for you. There's a pretty cool app called Temenos. It's created by the podcasters, the Jungian analysts on This Jungian Life, and it has incredible features. A talk to text. It allows you to decide which symbols you're going to bring forth. It has an AI feature that helps you start to track those different symbols. It'll provide some amplifications for dreams. So what does, in general, what could this symbol possibly mean? Give you some more information about it. You can even generate images from your dreams. I don't like that because it's never the way it is in my head, but I'm persnickety. So it's a lot of fun if you're looking for an option there. And some of it is free. So that's a fun way to keep your dreams as well. But once you've decided how you're going to keep your dreams, the last thing you do when you go to bed, whether it is putting the pen right next to the journal or writing down in your journal, I will remember my dreams, or dream maker, please give me a dream. And so it's setting that intention that you're paying attention. I found a lot of times that when people start analysis, that they start remembering their dreams. They're like, oh, I don't dream that much. And then they're like, Maggie, I had a ton of dreams since our last session. I'm like, yeah, it's because we're making space for them. And a lot of the type of work I do, in-depth work, is about making space and cultivating an awareness that's subtle. It's intuitive. It's getting that felt sense in the body that we aren't encouraged to cultivate. So it's a practice. It's learning to use muscles that, in general, we have not been taught to use in school. So that's a big piece of it. And when you do remember a dream, the more time you spend on it, writing it out, what do you connect with this? What are your associations? Looking up different images. If I had a dream of an octopus, maybe I would go look up what octopuses are, because they're very, very intelligent and they have a lot of really neat, unique features. So to understand what is the nature of a biological octopus would be useful for me to understand what that is in my dream. It's not a whale. It's not a dolphin. It's not a sea urchin. It's not what are those big scary fish with the lantern on their foreheads called? I don't remember. But it's not one of the big scary sea monster. It's an octopus. So the dream is giving you information. Anglerfish, thank you so much. It's giving you specific information for a reason. So you start to ask yourself, why is this particular information coming to me? And why am I the person dreaming this? So the more that you spend time with it and cultivate it, the more it's going to give you gifts from your unconscious. If you don't make time with it, if you dismiss it, it's going to go away. So that's an important piece of it as well. I want us to open up to questions because I'm sure you have questions about this, and I'm happy to answer specifically different ways to remember your dreams and deepen your dream practice. If you write down the pieces that you do remember, even a fragment can be useful. So sometimes they're jumbled up just because you've remembered a bunch of fragments, and those are worthwhile. Those are little snapshots. Sometimes it can be based on medication. I've been taking Benadryl for about a week from an allergic reaction I've been struggling with. And my dreams are shot. The Benadryl is affecting my ability to keep them, to remember them. And some of the dream images are like, well, that's not normal. And my psyche and my body, psyche and soma connected together, they're saying, hey, Benadryl's not normal either, Maggie. Like, what is this? So it could be that. Another thing is sometimes some people are really sensitive to moon phases or solar flares or what's going on in the world. If a country is really stressed out, your dream life is going to have that affected. So it's like permeable membranes. It diffuses into whatever we're doing. If you're personally really busy or really tired, that could be another piece of it too, of not remembering dreams. So there can be physiological reasons too for not being able to remember dreams. Most of the time, if we have too much going on or if you're tired, you're going to remember them later. It's just you've got enough going on in the outer world for the inner world to say, hey, you don't need anything else right now. So There could be a lot of reasons. Work with what you got. The quality of your sleep or how much your natural dream cycle is interrupted is going to change your dreams. And it depends on the person too. Really extroverted people in general can handle a lot more caffeine than introverted people. So it just depends on how caffeine sensitive you are as well. Second half of life stuff. There's a lot of shifts that happen and changing in psychic libido and power through menopause too. So it may be that you're in a life stage shift that's shifting you to forcing you to pay more attention to the dreams. I was really into one of Maria Louise von Franz's quotes, is saying that a lot of times we have really important actions that happen in dreams, that there is a psychic reality of the things we do in dreams that absolutely changes who we are and how we are in the world. And if you're taking that really seriously, then it may be that the dream is trying to have you spend more of your conscious awareness toward that inner process, that psychic process, rather than it being underlying what's going on. Our ego is really good at making us feel safe during the day. And at night, our ego takes a back seat and isn't the marshal of everything anymore. So then our unconscious urges and fears and desires kind of have more in the forefront. I mean, think about our psychology of night, the big scary shadows and the moonlight instead of the sunlight, and you're unconscious. It's very vulnerable to be asleep. The dream maker, the self, the internal process, that there is something deeper and beyond that story, wink and blink and a nod. It's that little skyboat that goes into the dreams. It's as if the self has a gondola guiding us through the river of the unconscious. There is something there, I think. And the more I've leaned into it, the more trust there is. Because it's such a deep reservoir of energy, understanding. Our poor little egos can't keep it together, and trusting that there's something else makes it so much easier. The collective unconscious is the idea that all of humanity is connected, is that there's some kind of group mind or unconscious connection or reservoir that we're all tied into. And I see it as a bubble, and then different groups, maybe different countries, different ethnic groups, different religious groups are all going to have their own little bubble, and all of those bubbles kind of overlap to some extent, and we're all held into the human bubble. There's some overlaps where we all influence each other. We were talking about cats and dogs. Cats and dogs are very interconnected, symbiotic creatures to humans. So they're very close to our evolution. And there's a very particular bond that the species have with each other. So I think there's some overlap in there too, where we kind of share psychic reality a little bit. And then the dogs would connect with the wolves, and cats would connect with the other cats under the big cat bubble. And that maybe I look at it from bubbles because that makes sense to me from like a Venn diagram perspective, and my own energetic bubble. And I have an awareness of when I meet with somebody, there's an overlap there between our energies when we sync up together. And if I'm in a big group of a lot of people, I feel a lot of different people around me. That's external sensing that Jung was talking about. And that through history and culture and mythology and religion, that we are all connected and we all have access to these different symbol sets that influence all of humanity. And that our dreams are associated with collective reality as well as internal reality. In indigenous cultures, they would talk about having a dream that's for the tribe, not for just the individual. And I've had dreams where they're not personal, they have nothing to do with me, they feel really big, and it's holding some of that collectivity, like the narrative of the collective. So absolutely, there's a connection in that way. It's not all the time. Sometimes you have a particular dream that's literally about, this is me and my house and my spouse and home. It's just personal stuff I've got going on. And sometimes it's big and it feels mythological and it feels magical and it's bigger than you. And you don't try to interpret it on an individual level. And people can see that also as a connection with spirits too, based on how they define what that is in their cultural context. It's bigger than us too, and a lot of it's unconscious. So when we're talking about unconscious things, we start to create a framework that we can reference it to, but because we can't directly observe it and we can only infer because it's unconscious, makes it more difficult. They feel different. A lot of times it's like you aren't you in the dream, and there's really big things that have nothing to do with your personal life going on, and you don't have any narrative related to it. It's like you just started watching a movie, or it seems epic, and there's this awe-inspiring wonder about it.